Hello there, my lovely Legionnaires. Today we have a real piece of work for you. This video got a little bit of a rabbit hole attached to it, so you're gonna have to bear with me for this intro. Originally, this was supposed to be a co-op with my buddy 2June. He was the person who was actually given all of this information, but garbage got in the way for him, and I decided that I would pick it up on my own. This was too important of a topic for me to completely let it go, given all the context and information we found out later. Today, we're talking about Foxton. I wasn't really familiar with her until recently when I was shown one of the most disgusting things I've seen in The Spiciest of Minutes, namely, her weird, obsessive crusade to prove that Harley TBS, a fellow commentator, was never actually groomed, which, at first, is concerning enough, I think, but I got so mad when I saw the BSI storage facility that she tried to pass off as an evidence file that I thought I was going to explode on the spot, so here we are. Preemptively, do want to let everyone know that we did approach Harley about making this video, for two reasons. One, I wanted to know if they were planning on talking about it themselves, and as the victim, it's more important that they speak their words in their own voice if that's what they want. Two, I wanted to make sure that they wanted more light on this situation, or if this was something that they wanted to handle privately. In situations like this, where there's this weird kind of pseudo-stalking going on, it's always best to contact the victims first to make sure that they don't already have a plan in place for how to deal with it. And I wanted to be responsible about all of this, so that's what I did. But, since Harley told me it was okay to go through with all of this, here we are. We have several things we have to cover today. A video that was made about the situation, a Twitter thread that they made after the video where they make everything substantially worse, and a Google Drive full of all of their, and I cannot use big enough air quotes, evidence. And then the public response that they had to me on Twitter when I talked to them about having this conversation. I want to put up this trigger warning because while we don't go into super depth about a lot of these things, they are talked about pretty heavily and they are kind of the central focus. So if these things bother you, then maybe come back for another one. Now, this video is long enough as it is, so let's get started and talk about the video.
That doesn't sound very fun.
Oh, on the fucking contrary.
So not too long ago, at the time of scripting, my friend Jokun had made a video about a larger YouTuber named Harley TBS. Now before and during the production of his video, me, Joe, and the rest of our friend group had been watching Harley and talking about what exactly we don't like about them/him. Before you shove a pitchfork up my fucking ass, I'll explain why I use him later on, just hang tight.
First off, we love to see confirmation bias being admitted literally right out of the gate. Makes it spectacularly easy to show that you have some kind of weird hate for this kid when you admit you were just sitting around talking about how much you didn't like them. Second, there's literally no reason for you to misgender them. I don't give a shit about the reasons you give us later. I don't give a shit what you think about Harley being trans. It's not your place to tell someone how they should and shouldn't identify. Just because they don't choose to present the way they're, quote, supposed to, we'll get there, doesn't mean that you take a petty low-road shot at them like this. Grow up.
Originally, I was going to make a video a long time ago on Harley, but I was afraid that it would put me and my BF in danger due to how large their fan base is and how they seem to follow every word that comes out of Harley's mouth. However, ever since Joe's video came out, I was able to work up the courage to make this video. I'm going to put the video into sections to hopefully make it a bit more digestible for everyone.
You know what would have made this video more digestible? Scripting it. You literally have a script linked in the description. It's right there. You have no reason not to just say the words in the order you wrote them. It was so mean, so rewrite it. You should see some of the old shit I've dumped. You thought the Fran video was a lot? You don't know the half of it. I went back and either dumped the videos because they were full of spite, or I rewrote them when I had a more level head. Doing it this way is a commentary begging on its knees to happen.
I do want to point out that I referenced Joe's and Mr. Sen's stream a fair bit, so I recommend also watching those two things.
You spelled inconsistencies wrong. Who the fuck writes PRT instead of PT? This is spaced wrong. Listen, stop your fucking fingers. I know, it's pedantic. It's just, there's nothing that screams, take my allegations seriously, better than spelling and formatting mistakes. It just aggravates me. You couldn't script, you couldn't spell check. Clearly this mattered so much. Proof positive. Well, you should have scripted this, by the way. This whole transphobic screed, it's not in the original script you linked. It's almost like you added this later purely so that you could actively be transphobic towards a person you have already openly admitted you don't like. And this adds nothing to your overall video. It's almost like this is a pointless takedown you made for nothing. If the original script was too mean, why would you add being transphobic?
Harley TBS has a problem of being consistent with certain things, and since this one's probably going to piss people off the most, or second most, I'm going to go ahead and get this done and out of the way. According to Harley, they identify as they and them, and have been known to get offended when people call them he, or at least when talking to people criticizing them, to paint them as, transphobic. Why do I say this? Well, let's look at the most public and obvious answers. If you check Harley's Twitter, it'll state that the pronouns are they and them, but the Twitter name says, I'm a stylish guy. Well, maybe it's a quote no one has heard about, and this is a straw man, I hear you all say. But wait, there's more. If you go to Harley's Discord server and look at their roles, it will say this. Like, why the fuck are you getting mad at people criticizing you for calling you he when you actually call yourself guy and boy?
Two problems here. First, avoiding gendered terms is difficult in general parlance. What would you have them call themselves? M'lady, gentle them, guy, dude, and boy, typically with an I, all have sort of just become gender neutral terms. Secondly, gender identity and expression, two different things. I, pretty recently, have started identifying as non-binary, for example. I mostly present female, and I don't mind being identified with my birth gender, but I like being identified more as androgynous. It's why all the depictions of my persona are in more masculine clothing like suits, or as some kind of cosmic creature, but I still have feminine aspects like tits. I don't mind people calling me a woman, but I found that being referred to with more gender-neutral terms typically makes me feel a little better. I don't suddenly stop being non-binary when I wear a dress and makeup for a social gathering. I don't need to present as an amorphous blob to be valid. Men can wear dresses and makeup, women can wear suits and ties, non-binary masks can use the terms guy, boy, dude. Gender is a social construct, and segregating what it is and isn't, and what is and isn't valid is cowardice, and I really don't want to hear a cis woman gatekeep who is and isn't trans. Shut up. Calvin Guerra isn't gonna pick you.
Harley has even let people who are fans call them he and doesn't even get mad at them. They're literally okay with it, but oh god, the minute someone who's critiquing them or harassing them calls them a he, they're transphobic, I guess. Here's an example of me getting corrected on pronouns when critiquing them, which I will also cover later. And now here's an example of Harley letting fans misgender them in their own server. Like in the screenshot, it is very clear that Harley sees them doing this and just doesn't say anything about it. But what if Harley's just more comfortable with their audience calling him a he? In no way is a legitimate, and yeah, I said it, trans person would ever be comfortable with letting anyone misgender them, especially in such a biased manner. It would be different if Harley was just more okay with people making a mistake and correcting them like he did me, but we see that Harley sees this and says nothing.
I know that now the pronouns are any on Twitter, but at the time it was only they, them, and still used those things very biasedly and as leverage against people. I'm going to threaten you with my gender.
Man, imagine being so entitled you think you get to dictate if someone is or isn't trans based on how they talk to you in particular. How those fucking toes taste. Anyway, we're gonna talk about a couple of these things. Yeah, that is in fact how it works. The first and most obvious thing is, where's your proof, commentator? You say this here and in the comments, but nowhere in your video, in your evidence doc, do you show Harley calling you transphobic for calling them by he, him pronouns, or that the bios were different. When you're claiming inconsistency, really helps to show a behavior that's different from what's standard. Second, saying that they don't want you to call them by masculine pronouns is this magic thing called a boundary, and we sure do love to see you violate it on purpose, out of spite. Now, I don't like Lily Orchard. I think she's a dumb bitch who really needs to keep her fucking mouth shut on things that don't have jack or shit to do with her. But I'm not gonna misgender or dead name her because of that. By your own admission, they told you what they wanted to be called. They also clarified the situation to you. That's not an inconsistency.
Actually, no. They don't need that money. They have been more than financially well off without saving up. Look at their Steam, plus the stuff they admit to having. And saving up is off the table because this was stated at a time before they did YouTube, and they mentioned no other form of getting.
Did you listen to my story? My Steam games are gifted by my groomer. Insensitive thing to comment. Also, I may have a lot of possessions. That doesn't mean I'm financially well off. Also, respect my pronouns. Secondly, it's not your place to say whether I'd appreciate donos.
Okay, how do you have a computer strong enough to run those games? The one gifted and the one that came out after. Have an Apple Watch, iPhone, and a god tier mic that is expensive as fuck. Also, my be about pronouns. I'll keep them more in mind.
They literally fixed this exact problem for you. What the fuck are you talking about? If I didn't think you were transphobic before, I sure do now, because you literally just showed me an instance of them telling you how they want to be referred to, you admitting, acknowledging, and then promising to change, and then not doing it anyway. Shut up, transphobe. Second, is this your fucking proof that they let people get away with it in their server?
Fucking based.
Every time Harley gets criticized, he tells the person why he can't change what's being asked of him to. They get defensive and start acting petty. It's not that hard to understand.
Fucking be aced.
Great! Nowhere in that screenshot did they call you transphobic or claim you were harassing them for misgendering them. If you saw respect my pronouns and connected that to you're transphobic, I feel like that says more about you and your intentions than it does about Harley. They asked you to mind your manners, and you agreed to. Again, by the way. So good to know that about your character. Next, since we've already talked about the fact that gender presentation comes in different forms, let me tell you pronoun boundaries for different people is a normal thing for non-binary people too. You're someone that they aren't close to and admitted they don't like, so you aren't close enough to them to use those pronouns. If I had $1 for every time in this one segment alone that your point can be debunked with things you can't make informed comments on because you're not non-binary, I'd have enough money to not have to worry about rent for the next forever. Also, keep this weird behavior towards how they spend their money in mind. That's gonna be important later. Let's address this text, too.
I do take this small comment back due to the new evidence, but I still believe the pronouns argument was Harley's way of just getting the upper hand and not because they were offended.
Fun fact, most trans people aren't the GameStop girl. We don't just lose it on people who misgender us. Some people aren't massively bothered by it. I don't expect people to see me in the wild and know that I go by they them pronouns. Most people wouldn't know. I've also been called he a few times, and it doesn't bother me enough to say anything about it. In my early internet years, as a matter of fact, most people thought I was a guy. Most people don't want to risk getting fucking hate crimed just for some stranger to get their pronouns right. Stop! Also, as to why I'm still making this point regardless of the text retraction, it's because, like all of the apologies and retractions you'll see on screen, it's insincere. You literally misgender them throughout this entire video, intentionally, on purpose, after they told you to your face the pronouns they wanted you to be using, and you admitted that you would, and you still think you're right regardless. You're not sorry, you don't mean it. Let's continue. What the actual fuck is this now? You're setting up another part 1? What? What kind of backwards fucking pageantry is this? I'm going to talk about this formatting nightmare now so I don't have to talk about it later. This video goes inconsistency part 1, harassment part 1, inconsistency part 2, harassment part 2, clout chasing, which is unnumbered, then inconsistency part 3, and then final thoughts. You couldn't have just put the inconsistency points together and put them behind the claims of harassment? If you couldn't do that, don't put them into subcategories. If you couldn't do that, don't categorize them by broader point. And if you couldn't do that, then don't chapter your goddamn video. Jesus! I tell you that you should never go unscripted again, but this isn't even that. You could have not put these cards in, or reordered your points in editing, but apparently that was too hard too. God damn it!
Now to start off, let us talk about how Harley doesn't name their critics sometimes. When he does this, he usually just generalizes them and just leaves it up to hearsay. He doesn't even post any screenshots of what they're saying or any, like, distorted audio clips about what they're saying at all. He just kind of expects people to take his word for it. Harley generally tries to explain this away with, oh, I'm generalizing because I don't want them to be harassed, which is fucking stupid because all it does is leave out important info and take shit out of context, which Harley has proven to do literally almost all the time. If Harley really wanted to bring up what someone said and not target harassment to them, just block out the username. Harley, you have blocked out usernames and sensitive info before. There's no reason for you not to do it in situations like that.
There's multiple reasons not to name and shame. The main one being the answer that they gave you.
I generalize statements so people don't get harassed over it.
To avoid direct harassment. There's a difference between censoring DMs and censoring a public Twitter post, for example. If I censor a private DM and show it on screen, there's no way for you to figure out who I'm talking to. But if someone posts a Twitter post and just censors the username, I can type the whole tweet into Google and find it with next to no effort. Putting in distorted audio does the exact same thing, where if I look up a video about Harley using keywords, I can probably find the video. There's more merit to showing someone's video or direct response to you, yes, I agree, but if Harley wants to be a little more careful with their fanbase, that might be more important to them. Also, Yes, the screenshot you just saw was in fact a doxing threat, and we'll be talking about that later. But hey, fun spoiler, that screenshot that you posted about getting this screenshot, it isn't Harley giving it to you. We don't know where they got it, only that somebody gave it to you, someone who shouldn't have it.
Although I say that he sometimes does this, I still want to bring this to attention really quickly because I feel like it can be used as a way to easily make themselves out to be the victim, which is a lot. Yote used an example of Harley paraphrasing a point someone made in his video at this timestamp. Again, I'm going to reference this video a lot in this, so please go check it out.
If you're making claims about things that Harley does in their videos, why aren't you showing clips? You're not showing us clips of them paraphrasing arguments, even though you admit you're heavily referencing another video. So why is it not okay for Harley to show people who simply disagree because he doesn't want them to be attacked, but it is okay for you to not show evidence of the thing you're claiming that they do?
I know this can just be interpretation on my end, but I wouldn't blame anyone for making that assumption when you look at Harley's track record in terms of demonizing and misconstruing critiques.
You admit it's not a fact? It's a personal interpretation of intent? Are you shitting me? This is a wild trip. This video's half an hour long. Jesus fuck!
Good example of this is someone in my inner circle. A good example of this is someone in my inner circle named Vera. Say hi, Vera. Okay, maybe later.
Listen, I really don't want to keep hitting this horse. I don't. I'm covered in its blood, my bats are broken, my arms are tired, it's starting to smell, but the damn thing keeps fucking twitching. You couldn't have just cut out the dead air of you giggling at your own stupid joke in a video where, spoiler alert, you try and invalidate someone's sexual abuse and call on a witness that doesn't show up. If that's not an omen, I'm Damien Thorne.
Vera had made a tweet talking to Harley about how he felt about the I Was Groomed video in response to Harley tweeting out to YouTube, which we will have to put another pin in for now.
No, I think I want to open this one a little bit early. This screenshot, this is a terrible look. Harley is talking about wanting verification to avoid being impersonated by scam accounts pretending to be them, and Environ, Vera I take it, hijacks the thread to,
Hey, Team YouTube, I've noticed a crowd of impersonation accounts appear around my name. I've had my name trend on Twitter twice, news articles, and I'll have 40,000 subscribers by next week. Could I possibly get early channel verification for the sake of stopping impersonators? Nah, but fuck that. The hell is this, not chief? Not chief? The fuck are you high on?
yeah, that's not criticism. It's just, why the fuck did you copy and paste the tweet you're responding to, only to make your point in a different tweet? Okay, you know what? Let me find the tweet. I got a bad feeling I want to confirm. Huh. It looks like this account is gone! Weird! I wonder why.
Harley then sent a screenshot of Vera tweeting this. Just to clarify what Vera is saying, Vera is trying to show hypocrisy on how he doesn't like people using traumatic stories for views, and yet has a video about him being groomed with a shit ton of views. Again, another pin for that.
I don't have a problem with sharing your experiences, but plugging socials and getting ad revenue off of it is disgusting. And it genuinely makes others that go through those same traumas feel like complete shit.
First of all, sweetheart, know you have a hard time reading. I've seen your excuses for evidence. Vera isn't saying that. Jokun is. Either keep your screenshots in order or learn how to read. Second, now we're just assuming intent, huh? Look, I'm gonna be honest. Harley monetizing and plugging their social media as normal in front of that video, it's not great. It's a serious and dark topic, and it should be treated maturely and with some gravity. It's not appropriate to be plugging your stuff like normal, it's just, it makes it ring a little weird. I would say don't do it in the future, it's a bad look. However, that doesn't mean that they were doing it for views. Just because the video got views doesn't mean it was for views. They were talking about a personal experience that actually happened to them, for one, and they never named the groomer, for two. The dude outed himself. They didn't do it for any other reason than to share the experience, and they didn't handle the opening segment in the best way. Boo-hoo!
To be fair, Vera did realize later on that this example would be eaten alive and demonized as it did use Harley's supposed trauma.
I hate this. I hate this fucking screenshot. Look at this. Look at this for a second. This is a screenshot of a tweet of a screenshot. I found the original tweet that you're showing to get this screenshot. Why couldn't you have just put this image here? Also, let's take a look at all that text.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. That almost caused me to take my life multiple times. How dare you tell me how I'm allowed to talk about it? Never, ever speak to me again.
This absolute liar really just played the victim game right here. All the Jokun and I were saying was that you can't call other people out for using stories like that for views while having done it yourself. And I didn't even say it, so your playing this game on me is confusing. Okay, here we go. Harley, I'm apologizing for what I said. I still think my point stands, but I definitely used the wrong video to prove that point. I took something personal and used against you because it looked like the best example at the moment. And that was really dumb. I definitely need to look more into the examples I use before doing stuff like that, because it makes me look incredibly insensitive. So I just want to tell you, I formally apologize.
I'm apologizing for what I said. Keep that in mind. Also, supposed trauma. Keep that in mind, too.
I would say a better example of this is Harley's videos on creepshow art, which is going to be discussed more in depth later. In those videos, there are many stories from Cow's victims. Yes, I called her a fucking cow. Don't fucking give me that look. Don't be like, oh, you're fatphobic because you call Shannon a fat cow. She is a fat cow. She's a fucking bitch. Anyway, sorry about that.
What does Shannon's weight have to do with fucking anything? God, this is pathetic. Do you really have so little to actually say that all you've got is to call her a cow? Really? Jesus. I'm gone for a couple years. This is the state of the burn game around our parts. This is depressing. This is a pervasive problem with a lot of younger, newer commentators, as a matter of fact. Potshots are fine enough when you use them right. You can't talk about how someone looks, their gender, their sexuality, shit like that, when you're talking about something like this, because it doesn't have fucking anything to do with anything. You're being a cunt to be one at this point. I keep calling you stupid because you're actively in the process of being stupid. But if I was commentating on someone and said they were a fat, ugly whore when we were talking about fucking Legos or whatever, it comes across as vitriolic and cruel for no reason.
In those videos, there are many stories from Cow's victims, and those said videos have tons of fucking traction. Is that not profiting off of victim stories, Harley?
I only found one of those videos with ads on it, so let's just slow our roll. Oh, but they got views and subscribers off of it. Yeah, we'll circle back to that later. Second, no, it's not. It's not the same thing. Signal boosting the stories of the victims on their much larger channel to give them better reach as the story's developing isn't profiting off of their trauma. Profiting off of someone's trauma is more along the lines of those nasty true crime mukbangs where someone just talks about a person's brutal murder while they shove Big Macs dipped in horsey sauce into their face, for example. Or, you know, a more realistic example, what you're doing right now. You're talking about and invalidating someone's personal pain that they asked you to stop talking about because you don't like them for likes and attention. There's a big difference between highlighting and bringing attention to a victim's story and ganging up on a victim of grooming in private with the person who groomed them in order to try and intimidate them, and then making a public YouTube video blaming them for their trauma. Whoops, did I spoil that part? Uh-oh, clumsy me. Also, this isn't the same thing on another way because they're not profiting off of victims' trauma, they're profiting off of their own trauma. Harley is the person who suffered this trauma, so Harley gets to decide when Harley wants to talk about it and if Harley wants the money from it. This is not the same thing.
To get back on the current topic, Harley took that tweet and tried to use it against Vera to make him look bad. Or at least worse than what Vera really did, if you want to look at it that way.
Imagine speaking for victims and telling me how I should discuss trauma that took me close to losing my life. Out of all the comments on my videos, not one of them is a victim complaining about monetization.
They weren't speaking for victims, they were just tone policing how this one particular victim chose to talk about their trauma because they didn't do it in the way we wanted to. Yeah, as someone who's been told how I should and shouldn't talk about my own trauma, good job on that one, Spockter. I also fucking hate it when nobody vultures on the internet side with the person who hurt me and tell me how I am and am not allowed to talk. I'm so fucking tired of this shit.
If you can't see the problem right here, I'll explain it to you. Joe and Vera were not speaking for victims at all. What they were saying is that they had a problem with how these two videos show hypocrisy and are crammed with self-promos, mainly talking about the grooming video. Put another pin for this now. I know I'm doing it a lot, but I promise it's going to be discussed later.
We're a fucking pattern piece. There's so many pins in this. Motherfucker, I'm harping on this so much I might as well be Apollo at this point. This could have been more organized. You wouldn't be having this problem. You lampshading that you can't make a single point without a footnote somewhere else isn't an excuse. This is a call out on some important and dark shit. Get your fucking garbage together.
Fast forward a bit, Harley tried to make Vera come across as him mocking the grooming situation, which Vera clarified that it was not the case at all.
I call this thread mocking my opinion, though.
They literally used a tweet of him asking YouTube about a solution to help curb people impersonating him and said, "What the hell is this, not Chief?" and a picture of their fucking grooming video. They were mocking a video that they made to talk about a very serious thing that happened to them. I don't give a shit how many times they say, "Oh, it's not what I was doing." Common fucking sense and a pair of working eyes would tell you this isn't it, Chief meme attaching to a fucking grooming video was meant to take it less seriously. Sure. Let's say that's not the intent for this bit, though. Them doubling, then tripling down on it, not being valid because of Harley's promo in it, is them actively lessening its importance to Harley's fucking face.
It says in the definition it's not influenced by personal feelings or opinions. Kind of like what I've been saying this whole time.
Yes, so objectively you mocked my grooming. Because anyone would view what you did that way. The post mocked/satirized my story.
Not if they read directly what was under the post, which I quite literally agreed with. Never mind the fact that there are people who were auto-aware that the point wasn't to mock you, so anyone wouldn't be correct here either.
You are so blinded by spite, you have hit every single fucking telephone pole going down this road.
Before you get all pissy about me using the DMs between Vera and Harley, I want to make this clear. 1, Vera gave me permission to use these, and 2, Harley literally made these public in their Discord server, which is one of the 2 ways Harley misconstrued what Vera had said. They also talked about this very publicly, which they promised they weren't going to do. So, I have all the right to also talk about this too. Plus, again, he gave me permission.
Poggers! So, show us the whole thing then. So this is so clearly cut up that I'm not even gonna have people read it, because it's nothing. This just shows Vera being shitty, catty, openly hostile to Harley when they're claiming to be apologetic. The first thing you show is clearly part of more of a conversation that we don't see. The bit Harley shows isn't in the ones you show, and all of the evidence Vera brings is a petulant child screaming, "Nuh-uh!" Like, was this what you had? This was your best? That's fucking pathetic. You know, it doesn't matter what you show about them talking about it publicly, because in the screenshots I just had them read off, they clearly weren't sorry, considering they were in their DMs tripling down on it, and later said that they backed down because they were tired of fighting, and not because they actually were sorry. So we can just throw that public apology into the fucking garbage. God, this DM conversation is a child stamping their feet and demanding the big bad they them stop saying they were shitty, when literally anyone with a frontal lobe can see that they brought an M32 to a knife fight. Then again, that's what this whole video is, so I don't know why it tires me so much. The lot of you are fucking brain dead, I swear to God.
Take a look at this and tell me Vera actually agrees that he mocked Harley's grooming.
Hi there, I'm Boone, the guy who did that one video on the quartering with Heaton. Now, she wanted me to go ahead and cut a promo on this particular little attempt at an apology. I didn't even know it was an attempt at an apology. I thought it was just snark. But no, I see where they say I'm sorry and saying that they may as well just apologize. It's like, oh, I may as well just apologize because you're a bitch. That's what you sound like.
I don't even have words. Did you really just put a screenshot up of Vera admitting that they weren't actually sorry and were only apologizing to get the conversation to end, and pretend like that was proof of their point? Are you actually brain dead? I can't. This is the most insane thing I think I've ever looked at. Holy fucking shit!
Which, as you all saw, was not the case. To kind of jump back a bit and add to context of Vera's frustration, he actually apologized for how he came across, and there is proof of Harley acknowledging the apology by liking the tweet. I had to take a screenshot of it and send it to Harley because they have a habit of blocking people when they don't agree with him, or actually call him out on his fucking bullshit. However, despite this, Harley tried to push the narrative that Vera undermined what they did, all because Vera said he wasn't mocking it. Like, seriously? Harley, you can't just 1 minute fully acknowledge someone's apology and then take it back because they corrected you on their intent. And you especially cannot push the narrative that that was the intent onto someone like you did. Grow the fuck up.
Man, mirrors must, like, really be rare in your household. Fucking, it's a grow up. Yeah, sure. Alright. First off, you even said it. Not an acceptance. Didn't accept the apology. Simply acknowledged that he did it. Not an acceptance. Those are two different things. Second, Vera admitted in DMs that they weren't actually sorry, and you literally just put that on screen for me to see. So I don't know where the fuck you think this is going. Second, yeah, that's how it fucking goes, kid. When you get something wrong, you don't get to apologize and then go back to doing it again. Harley could tell that he wasn't sorry because he fucking told him so, and he didn't acknowledge that the thing he did was wrong. Then they weren't going to forgive them. Fun fact, the person you hurt sets the terms of how they forgive you. You don't get to break someone's leg and then tell them to get over it before the bone's been set because you said sorry. That's not how that works. An apology is an acknowledgement of fault and a promise not to repeat the behavior. If he wasn't willing to acknowledge that, then he wasn't fucking sorry. He can't violently argue that he was right and then claim what he did was wrong and that he should be forgiven. If anyone has some growing up to do, it isn't fucking Harley. Also, you've been hounding this person in public and in private about their grooming being fake, but who's fucking counting? The two of you are the ooh-woo victims who are being silenced by the big bad non-binary. I keep coming back to this word, but it's true. It's pathetic. It's sad. You are clawing at this poor person's heels, fucking begging to be noticed, to be acknowledged, and it chaps your ass that nobody is taking your miserable petty ramblings even the tiniest bit seriously, and that the person you are openly harassing at this point is shutting you down at every turn and leaving you scraping at their back door in the mud, pleading to be let in from the rain. It's depressing to watch.
Now, the other time Vera's words were misconstrued was in a video Harley made clapping back at Mr. Sin. Vera had made a response that just sums up the situation, so I'm just going to play that here.
I'm not gonna lie, I find this point fucking hilarious for a few reasons. Mainly because the person Sen shows in this screenshot where I'm apparently becoming the victim mocked my story of being groomed and tried to pick on me for it, to which I called them out and said, imagine telling a victim how to fucking handle their own story. And then the person who made that post apologized and said they were out of line and it was a bad example and that they were wrong. Sen's whole source said that they were wrong.
Want to know something that I didn't do though? Mock your grooming or pick at you for your grooming? Seriously, the screenshot you showed shows absolutely nothing of me mocking your grooming, and there's actually a reply directly underneath that proves that my point was not to mock you or pick at you for it. Imagine rebuttaling someone's point about you victimizing yourself to then victimize yourself in the same point. Could not be you, huh?
Okay, so you've now shown the man himself saying with his own mouth that he wasn't fucking sorry, so we can toss this entire apology in the fucking garbage. Great, I don't know what this proves. That your friends are as duplicitous of scumbags as you are? Why do you keep saying, oh, Vera was totally sorry, then immediately showing footage and screenshots of Vera saying he was totally right the whole time? Everyone else is stupid. This isn't a gotcha. You're just digging a deeper pit for your stupid friend to climb in.
Foxton, this happened almost a month ago. Why are you bringing this up? Well, first off, even if this is old, which a month really isn't that old, this still shows how dishonest Harley is and how they love to misconstrue things. Fuck man, the kid is still saying the same fucking shit. Here is a comment made in Mr. Sin's stream that happened 5 days ago at the time of scripting. So if Harley's still doing this, I have the right to speak on it.
Okay, now it just looks like you're fucking stalking this kid. Christ! A passing comment made in someone's stream with no context? Nothing! This is nothing! Was Sen talking about it? Was someone in the chat mentioning it? Was that what the stream was about? This looks like a response to something that Sen might have said, and even so, then it isn't on Harley for mentioning it. Sen did, or someone in the chat did, or your mom did! We have no idea what prompted this conversation, only that something clearly did, because this is phrased like a response. It's fucking rich that you keep claiming that Harley is misconstruing Vera when you're willfully choosing to cut context and pretend like Harley's in the wrong for not accepting an openly admitted disingenuous apology and cutting up screenshots like this. Also, hey dipshit, in every single one of these responses, Harley is on Vera's side. I know from your dumpster fire of an evidence doc that you have the reading comprehension of a fucking first grader, but this is Harley acknowledging that they apologized and vouching for the fact that they tried. They just didn't accept it. You keep going on and on and on and on and on about Harley misconstruing things when the only thing that they're doing is apparently not telling people he apologized for the right thing. Put your fucking glasses on and shut up.
The one Harley is referring to as he is Jokun and another person is Yumi Vera. Also, Harley, again, didn't you say to Vera that you would never talk about this again after essentially beating Vera into submission?
Beating Vera into submission? It's 3 sentences. They're asking him to acknowledge what he said was wrong. The screenshot doesn't even show him saying that he wouldn't talk about it publicly again. You're actually illiterate.
This isn't the first time Harley has misconstrued what people have said to demonize him. This has happened to me, as you saw in Joe's video. A bit ago, Harley made a tweet about how he was being harassed, which he often states when being criticized.
This is fucking killing me. It just really is. There's something so deeply and unbelievably fucking irritating about listening to this stupid bitch over and over again say these horrible, viscerally upsetting things and then just giggle at her own inside jokes. I cannot explain to you the deep-seated rage that this makes me feel in my chest.
A bit ago, Harley made a tweet about how he was being harassed, which he often does when being criticized as shown so far. I'm not going to talk about Butter's part in this because it is so little, I don't think it is necessary. Back on topic, I responded to Harley's tweet talking about how most of his harassment was him actually just getting criticism. And it was justified criticism. It then led to Harley saying how he has been harassed with no evidence whatsoever and told me to stop talking, which he really does this a lot when he doesn't have actual fucking evidence. Spoilers, I didn't. I told him to put up or shut up and show me the evidence of this, stating that if I was proven wrong that I would retract my statement, which I'm still willing to do if I'm proven wrong. Guess what happened? Not that. Instead, Harley misconstrued what I said and tried to make it look like I was trying to get him to publicly show his friends info and told me to get the fuck out of my life. What did I say that actually made it look like I was trying to get him to show his friends public info? I didn't say that at all. You can see I didn't say that at all.
Okay, I fucking hate this, and a lot of people do it, so I'm going to draw what is apparently a controversial line in the sand. What you are doing is in fact demanding to see someone's docs. You are either asking Harley to dox their friends and family to prove this is happening, or you are asking them to show you someone else's docs. There's no winning here. Either they don't publicly showcase the person doxing the people around them and are branded a liar, or they do, and they're showing you someone's docs and encouraging further harassment by giving that person attention. What's your end game here? This is frankly none of your business, and you should shut up about it, as a matter of fact. It's also a wild assumption for you to assume that he was talking about you if what you were actually doing was legitimate critique. I know when people I talk about claim harassment without naming names, I typically don't assume they're talking about me. You know what they say, kick dogs yelp, and you have been nothing if not a bitch underfoot.
After this, I was blocked and had to continue through this thread through an alt account. I was sent a thread showing this supposed evidence, but it wasn't evidence to the exact claim Harley was talking about. It does show someone trying to get personal info out of an ex-staff member, but it doesn't really show his friends' lives being threatened at all, nor does it show any other thing Harley has said was happening in the previous thread. It does show, however, that Harley knows how to censor out personal information, so there was absolutely no reason not to show proof of those exact claims.
Alright, lots to go over. Let's start with you didn't have to do shit. You didn't want to avoid having the last word in an argument you started, and you're throwing a temper tantrum that you didn't get your way. Being blocked is another boundary. They've set many of them throughout this exchange, as a matter of fact, and you've overstepped every single one of them and then cried victim because they rightfully told you to leave them alone. It's shitty, and quite frankly, really creepy that you're so obsessed with proving this random kid's grooming story wrong. You've taken every means short of contacting them IRL. Leave them alone. Second, you asked for proof that someone was trying to dox his friends. The only way to show you proof of that would be to show you images of their docs. You cannot be this fucking stupid. How the hell would they prove to you that someone was being doxed without showing you their docs? Well, they could post the docs, edit it out. Well, then it wouldn't prove anything, would it? What if the post is just their docs? Then you couldn't show it at all. There's no way to prove it without seeing their personal information. You also aren't friends with them, the friend they mentioned, or any person in this circle, so you demanding in a fucking Twitter thread to be looped in on some very scary shit because you've been buzzing around in the background and felt called out is telling. Now, let's see. What they showed was evidence that someone was being doxxed and being threatened.
Or should I say more about you that I already know?
Still, you couldn't do anything.
Well, Redacted could do something. Maybe like a simple noise complaint to show you I'm the real deal? Or would you want to believe me? No. No? Okay, fine, whatever.
Blackline?
Redacted Police Department. How can't you know your city's own police force? Man, you really must be stupid. So, are you going to send me my info?
Okay, what do you want?
I need you to send me a DM between you and Harley. You've blocked them, so it shouldn't matter.
But why? I don't think that would be alright.
Don't ask questions. Besides, I know you don't like Harley. Don't you want to see him fail? See him finally fall for what he's done to you and possibly others? Don't forget either that I know you. I know where you live. I know where you have your animals. I know about Haru. I know a lot. You don't want to end up like Redacted, do you? Don't you want to help Fu? Help them with what they're going through? So, would you send a DM to Harley? Make it a good one, too. Man's just sitting out here fucking LARPing like he's the goddamn godfather of the internet. Jesus Christ. Dude, touch grass. Staple it to your forehead. Jesus.
Redacting the name of the police department but leaving in the actual fucking threats, and that's not enough! I am actually convinced you are fucking illiterate, because I'm pretty sure the message, don't forget that I know you, I know where you live, I know where you have your animals, I know about Haru, I know a lot, you don't want to end up like Redacted, don't you? Is a fucking threat! Just because he didn't say the words, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to swat you, doesn't mean it's not a threat on his life. The comment in those screenshots about calling the cops on them is clearly a fucking swatting threat. You are not this stupid. I am not kidding. This has to be malicious. There's no fucking way you look at the screenshots and claim that's not a fucking threat.
I'm in the middle of editing what I'm like saying right now in the video, and I came across the screenshot thing where I said that no friends' lives were being threatened. I read over it again, and there is something that is said that could be, you know, what's the word? Could be interpreted as a life being threatened. My main argument was that, well, there's an ex-staff member, someone that doesn't like Harley, so this isn't really a friend, but I see that's kind of nitpicky, so that isn't my bad on my part. What I'm trying to say in this, essentially, is that I feel like the harassment still was exaggerated by Harley, because he made it seem that, you know, all his friends were being threatened, and all this bad shit was happening when it's terrible, but it isn't to the extent Harley said it was. I just wanted to make that clear post-edit. So, alright, back to the video.
Now, you may be wondering why I left the previous point in when Foxton addresses it here. Well, simple. Because if she wanted to fix the issue, she would have cut it out. She admits that this was an issue that she addressed in editing, and unlike a missing screenshot or context added later, this was something she specifically said she just fucked up, but then left in and said Harley was being overdramatic about it anyway. Foxton, nowhere did Harley insinuate this. In fact, going back to look at the initial tweet, they mention a friend, singular, possessive, multiple times, and all of those things are visible in the screenshots you showed. The only thing in that tweet that they didn't show evidence of was their own address being spammed. We already went over why showing proof of that's impossible, and people spamming self-harm images, which, again, there was no way to actually show proof of unless you want Harley to be posting images of self-harm on their timeline, since censoring out the images would immediately mean the proof would be questioned. Just they're being overdramatic and not actually being threatened, right? It's actually really fucking funny to me how you in like this community will really say the most deplorable, victim-blaming, bottom-feeder garbage and then think that going, well, I'm not saying that it was okay, like it means you didn't literally just downplay every single aspect of it. Spoilers, just because you say a thing doesn't make it true.
I am not saying what this person did wasn't bad at all, it is fucking disgusting. But to me, it looked like Harley was exaggerating the level of harassment he was getting just to discredit me and make me feel like an absolute shit. And it is just fucking sad and kind of infuriating to me.
If there's not 10 dudes kicking in your front door with ARs right now, I don't feel bad about inserting myself into a terrifying personal experience because I felt called out about being an asshole.
Get fucked.
Probably, I doubt you are watching this, but if you are, I'm still waiting on proof for a shit ton of things you have said. And if you show them to me, my offer still stands. Keep that in mind.
Okay, so now we're back to
show me images of self-harm and your personal information and I'll back off harassing you on alternate accounts after you blocked me.
Cope, seethe, mauled, talk to a therapist, take your fucking meds. I don't know what to tell you.
I do want to point out that another set of screenshots were sent to me by the same person saying it was proof, but again, it's not the same thing. I watched the My Stalker has been harassing me video and did not see that evidence either. It does prove that this person was being sent ex-staff members' info and allegations being made, but really nothing else. I saw no self-harm being sent or any, like, censored pictures, clarifying it is self-harm, and no friends being threatened. The friends part is mentioned, but I saw nothing.
Well, 2 different sets of censored docs information wasn't enough for you. I can't imagine why they think you're just out to get their docs at this point. It's almost like you're hounding them over nothing on 2 different accounts constantly, and it seems like the only way you'll be satisfied and actually leave them the fuck alone is if you see their address. I wonder why they think you're harassing and stalking them.
If I don't see any info, I'm not going to take it at face value. You can't make a claim like that. You gotta show some sort of evidence. And again, this is not me saying to show me the evidence of the actual fucking, addresses. That's stupid. And it's stupid for someone to try and say that I said that.
The exact words in your original tweet that you read to us were "put up" or "shut up." You absolutely thought they were making it up. Motherfucker, this is why you started the Twitter fight to begin with. They posted a tweet about harassment. You said that what was happening to them wasn't harassment, it was criticism that they were ignoring. They showed you screenshots of somebody being harassed, and you said that wasn't enough. I wonder why they would have fucking thought you wanted their docs.
If someone finds any info and I have skipped over something else, please tell me in the comments and I will fix it. I want to make a note that I clarify that I didn't doubt that some harassment was happening. Who doesn't get fucking harassed over the internet? But it was really convenient that Harley would post about being harassed right around the time that Harley was being criticized. And compared to what was shown to me, it was exaggerated to some extent.
I'm not saying you weren't being harassed. I just said you weren't being harassed, and now I think you're not being harassed to a level that you get to be afraid, even though 2 of your staff members are being doxxed and threatened just to get to you. I don't know why you'd think that. That's incredibly shitty of you to assume of me. I am begging you to talk to a therapist. Please seek help.
Okay, this was scripted before Harley admitted that he is indeed fucking rich and makes a good bit of money from their videos.
Yeah, they only make less than half of the average middle class wage in the UK, but rich, sure. I'm skipping this entire segment because, quite frankly, it's really weird to have you admit that your entire segment is bunk at the top of it and then do it anyway. I cannot fucking believe anyone took this even remotely seriously. Once again, by the way, just quick aside, I think it's really fucking creepy that you keep following them into other people's stream chats to get dirt on them. Just saying. This whole segment is just them policing where and how Harley gets and spends their money, which I think is fucking weird, especially considering that they told you. But let's just, for a quick second, my setup together consists of an $800 drawing tablet, a $2,000 PC build, and a $100 microphone. I had to save up for a year to buy the tablet used, and both the PC and mic were gifts. In fact, the replacement tablet that I got since scripting this video, which was another $500, was another gift. My personal income as of the minute is non-existent. You can save up for nice things yourself without making shit tons of money, especially if things like your computer setup are part of, your fucking job. It's almost like Harley's allowed to do whatever they want with their money, and it's deeply disturbing that you think you're entitled to say what they can and can't spend their money on. We're moving on.
I'm not going to bring up as many screenshots in this section because a lot of Harley's anger is already shown in the screenshots from the last sections. However, I think this is, again, worth bringing up because the way Harley handles things has had a massive impact on the whole situation.
Now, considering the screenshots you were showing were digging you deeper in, it actually might be nice to get yourself a ladder for once.
Harley likes to say that the internet doesn't bother him, but we have all seen that this is not true. As you have seen, Harley has had a bad habit of raging at people who criticize him and, in a way, belittling them. Guys, if you preach about how you are willing to take criticism and want to handle serious topics like grooming and pedophilia, you can't fly off the cuff like Harley has done. Especially in so many instances, literally almost all the time, you are given actual criticism. It honestly just shows you have no sort of mental maturity or strength to handle it.
Which is why you kept flailing and screaming and crying on Twitter, why you block evaded, why you ban evaded, why you continued to scream, cry, and harass, why you made 2 videos, you said you were in the process of making a second one, I better not see it go up after this, and why you've just been all around stalking, following, and harassing this person because they told you that they thought you were stupid. You know, like you, the pinnacle of mental strength and maturity. Yeah, being a hippo doesn't make you wrong. You know what? Sure, fine, I can even agree to that, but for someone calling hypocrisy, I feel like you also being a massive hypocrite really just doesn't make this point sink in.
Oh, and Harley, remember when you threw a temper tantrum because YouTube wouldn't verify you early and give you a special treatment? Yeah, you also can't throw a temper tantrum in the live chat just because you want seen right when you wanted to and make it look like Sin didn't want to debate you about facts and just talk shit even though Sin clearly stated he wanted to go over Joe's video first and be taken seriously all at the same time. Like, Harley, what the fuck is this fake-ass tough guy bullshit?
So the live stream was about that. So it wasn't Harley bringing it up. You're admitting that the live stream that you've been grabbing screenshots from this entire time was one that fucking Sen started to talk about it. So Harley didn't make it public first. How do you keep doing this? How do you keep going on and on about, I have proof that Harley's a piece of shit, and only prove that you're the piece of shit?
And it's like you were trying to be all like, come on, punk-ass bitch, say shit. But all you really are saying is, well, put me on stream, you bully, that is my ice cream cone, you big meanie, now it's ruined, I'm leaving. By the way, Harley, that is what actual insults look like, not pointing out shit you actually did wrong.
So we're okay with insults. Good. Glad. Stoked about it. So then I know that it's totally fine for me to be as mean to you as I have been in this video. Poggers, I really don't want to hear anything about my tone after this. Also, this whole segment is rich. This whole part is just hilarious. Because you, Mrs. Show me your docs or it's not proof. You can only present your gender the way I think you should be presenting. You can only spend your money a certain way, and you don't get to block me looking head ass. Is really going to talk to Harley about entitlement. Bitch, you are the foot fetish grand alpha with how you think you're entitled to Harley's entire fucking life. You, this whole video, have been and will continue to try and tell them how they are entitled. As a hippo so massive and girthy, it gave me a 4-page monologue after jump scaring me. I cannot fucking believe that you would actively try and do this stupid, miserable, insipid, flea-ridden cunt.
Oh, and speaking of milking the fuck out of videos... Okay, listen, I know this section is a bit nitpicky, so feel free to skip to this timestamp if you don't want to sit through this.
You know what? I wrote points for this section, but you're right. You're just doing my commentary for me. This sucks and is stupid, so we're skipping it.
Yeah. Oh, but Fox, Ponder makes 3 videos that are hours long on the Spectre situation. How is it that clout chasing? What Ponder did wasn't clout chasing because the videos added new things to the table. It is fine for people to make multiple videos adding new things to it, but when it is someone that is making 12 videos of just regurgitated bullshit, it is obvious that it's just attention seeking / clout chasing.
How the fuck is the text getting worse? The red was hard enough. The white on the blurred background. I can barely fucking read this. You are so lucky I captioned these for the people who are recording.
I brought up the Ponder thing because she is a big commentator and someone I am a fan of, and I can see people trying to bring this up. I understand that I'm also bringing up certain things that were already mentioned. However, the difference is that I'm bringing up newer things and going more in depth.
God damn it. Okay, I wasn't gonna bring up Ponder, but now that you have, it's just shot your entire argument in the foot. So I went and watched Harley's videos on Creepshow Art Drama. That's what this whole section is about, by the way. And here's the breakdown. Videos 1 and 2 have a point. They could have been one whole video and been more cohesive rather than releasing them on 2 separate days. The first is Harley talking about the accusations. The second is their own thoughts breaking down the technical side. Those 2 things could have been in one video, Harls. You really didn't need to do that for the extra ad revenue. The third was an update right after Emily Artful talked about the stalking, which was new information at the time. The fourth, their own experiences, which would have been new information at the time. The fifth was talking about the video that Emily put out, which was new at the time. The sixth was talking about other victims' testimonies, which were coming forward at the time. The seventh about her sister coming out, which was new at the time. The eighth talking about Skittle's statement and her leaving YouTube, which was new at the... Okay, you see the pattern. It's almost like all of these were new information at the time of the video's release, and Harley was talking about them. Would it have been better to gather all that information together into one coherent video and talk about it all together? Maybe. You know what? Well, that's more my preference too. Some people want up-to-the-minute updates. Some people want breaking news in a consumable format. If I had a nickel for every time in this whole segment you went, well, it's okay when blank does it, but I could pay for my insurance on top of my rent.
I can already tell people are gonna be fucking pissed at me for this.
You know what? I want to just take a second, because this is the part of the video that made me viscerally angry, and I want to explain something about the way that this section opens. We could go with the classic, if you thought people were going to get mad at you, why did you do it? But quite frankly, I think the fact that you knew that people were going to get mad about you doing this should have been an indicator. It just should have. You really should have sat down with yourself and gone, man, people are really gonna think I'm an irreprehensible piece of gutter trash. Should I really do this? Is publishing this the right idea? And this shows that you knew that people weren't going to like it, that there was going to be backlash for it, people were going to be mad at you, people were going to call you an absolute cunt. And you did it anyway. This, people, is the reason I don't feel bad. It's the reason I don't have any guilt or remorse about how hard I am going, how hard I will continue to go, and how hard this video ends off. Because, quite frankly, this was someone who sat down with their choices, looked in the mirror, and said, yeah, I know that this is one of the worst things I can do and say about another human being, but I think I'm gonna do it anyway.
I want to make something clear. And I'm gonna make this clear a lot because I don't want people taking shit I say out of context and misconstrue what I'm trying to say. I will not say whether or not Harley is lying about being groomed. I don't know for a fact, and it is not fair of me to say if it really did happen or not.
Oh, now we're not sure. Now we're not sure. Because that's not what your screenshots say, Fox. You have a whole conversation with Harley while their groomer is present, and you are actively taking the side of that groomer in your little evidence drive, and it keeps consistently saying you don't believe them. And you're making this whole section of your video about why their grooming isn't believable. This is so sad. This is such a blatant attempt to try and cover your own ass. You can't be honest at all.
However, there are things that I feel like should cause at least some reasonable doubt to the story, or at least some indication that it was merely shared for views and not really to help people. This is the first video I ever watched from Harley. This is actually what started this whole drama, in my opinion. I saw this video and was disgusted, actually.
Not disgusting enough to bring him into a call with his victim so that you and your cronies could gang up on them, clearly. Oh, yeah, no, I know, I'm getting really, really ahead of myself, but I can't help it, it's actually driving me insane.
Not just by the groomer's actions. You'll see why. Maybe that is a bit too strong. No, I was disgusted. Firstly, why do I think this video was made for attention? Whether or not it is true? Well, let's look at Harley's social blade.
Nope. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I've talked about this before. Shut the fuck up. There's this wild theory out there, by the way, that a victim is allowed to benefit from outing the person who hurt them. If Harley was talking about someone else's story, I could maybe see this argument. We could have an intellectual, like, Socratic debate about it. But this is their story, and if they want to make money from talking about the things that happened to them, you have no right to talk about that. It's how they did it. Jeanette McCurdy isn't getting backlash from making money off of talking about her abusive mother, for example. The difference that she wrote a book and Harley made a YouTube video? Is it that it isn't the totality of their life and just one event? Because if it's the former, tons of YouTubers monetize things like coming out about their abuse stories. And if it's the latter, people get paid to write articles about their own situations all the time. It's not a bad thing for a victim to tell their story and get paid for it. It certainly doesn't mean they only did it for attention. And I'm getting really, really tired of this fucking repeated plot point coming out of your stupid mouth.
Plus, if someone shares a video discussing their abuse, people are generally going to believe them and sympathize with them. It is going to generally get a positive view and get positive attention. That is what happened in the sponsor drama before the allegations were proven false. Again, this is not me saying that Harley is lying like stories or Pentagram. I'm making a comparison on the audience's reaction to these claims to show how people are way too quick to show positive support to something as serious as grooming allegations.
I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying that when I compare these two things, one group was a pair of people who were trying to make abuse allegations in order to ruin someone's life. And the other is stories in Pentagram.
Do you, not see what you're doing? You are speaking out of both sides of your mouth with every statement, and I cannot stress enough to you and people like you that prefacing this kind of absolute bullshittery with a qualifier and then a big ol' but after every single one of them isn't a fucking defense. It's what you're doing, and I'm going to lose it.
Now, I will talk about what inconsistencies I see within the video. As a person who has also been groomed and has a history of child abuse, I understand if a victim can't remember certain details in their story. Knowing this, these are still some inconsistencies that an abuse victim doesn't make, and certain things you don't say or do to protect said groomer.
Shut the fuck up, you disingenuous cunt. You put them back in contact with their groomer. You spread around that this person was not a danger. You invalidated the word of the victim and insinuated that he wasn't to blame because of a mental disability. You pulled every fucking trick in the book to convince your microscopic fan base that this person wasn't in danger. I do not want to hear a word out of your slimy, two-faced maw about Harley being irresponsible. The victim does not have to compromise their own fucking safety, recovery, and mental health to do jack or shit, especially when the rules are set by a rabid bitch who can't keep her fucking morality straight between sentences.
Now comes another reason as to why this video disgusted me. Harley stated that he has seen his groomer in his comment section where there are other minors that could fall victim. When talking about this, Harley goes back and forth between knowing for sure that this is the groomer and not being so sure. For now, let's just say this asshole is in your comment section. For someone who is so hell-bent on calling out groomers, how the fuck will Harley refuse to protect his fans from someone he knows is dangerous? Oh, but I'm scared. I already shown how that makes no fucking sense, and how the person wouldn't be able to find you with false information, so why the fuck are you putting your child audience, or at least the children that are in your fan base, in danger? That is fucking selfish of you and very disappointing. You have this power and you choose not to use it. Harley, if this asshole strikes again, it is actually someone who is your fan. You are also to blame for not protecting them and calling this guy out.
You put him back in contact with Harley. You did it. You showed us fucking screenshots of you doing it. You shut your mouth. If he makes an alt, how the fuck is Harley supposed to know that? You don't know that he hasn't already, and you don't know if he hadn't before. This is the stupidest argument I've ever heard in my goddamn life, and is you warping reality in order to make a victim the villain. I refuse to listen to another word that she says. There's 5 more minutes. I don't think there's anything that can be said that tops that. You do not get to tell me that you think Harley is lying about their grooming, then use their grooming to guilt him into doing something that you actively were doing the opposite of. Get fucked. Now we're done with the video. We're moving on.
I heard you say good game, and then I heard I'm gonna bomb your trailer park.
So in the video's current title, it says to check the pinned comment. Here is said pinned comment.
I'm gonna sum up shit here so people don't have to dig through bullshit. 1. I don't think Harley is lying about being trans, as shown by everything in this fucking thread. This is stupid. I corrected my statement in a caption on my video. However, I still think it was used as leverage against critics on Twitter, since Harley would be fine with people calling them he, arguably, at the same time, and I don't think it's fair to Harley to be as upset for calling them he when it flips so much. So you're not lying about being trans, you're just like, you're not trans enough. I still stand by my fiance section, but will acknowledge it as speculation on my end, so I'm fine if you disagree and really won't argue it. Guys, I swear, this dude, trust me, is different. I will still stand by the Vera situation. It was disgusting what Harley did to Vera. I will admit I was wrong on the extent of the harassment. I should have talked to admin. Despite me thinking they wouldn't talk to me, I should have at least tried. Please, use some fucking punctuation. These sentences are going to kill me. I still think Harley is a clout chaser to an extensive degree. While making a video on a popular subject doesn't mean clout chasing, it depends on the amount of times it is done, especially if nothing really need is added to the table. You were really close, like you were super close to that being a sentence. I shouldn't have been so aggressive in the grooming part. It was due to my past trauma and it wasn't fair. However, I still stand by the points at its core, just not how I handled it. This is stupid. I fucking, like, could you imagine, like, you do something horrible to a person, like you stab them in the kidney, and then you, when you're trying to be held accountable for stabbing someone in the kidney, you're like, well, I guess the way I went about it was wrong, but I still agree with the reason I stabbed you in the kidney. We were disagreeing over Pokemon. Obviously, I needed to be rash, but like, maybe I went a little bit too far by stabbing you in the kidney. However, the reason why I did it is super based. If you say I'm disgusting for merely having a different opinion than you, or questioning shit, or even thinking shit, I will not value what you have to say on the matter. Good, your opinion sucks anyway. People are allowed to question or think anything they want, even if it is on my abuse story if it ever comes out. Disagree and debate me all you want, but I won't listen to you if you tell me how I should think or what I should question. Oh boy, this is, I don't, like, are you in, like, the Beverly Hills of glass houses? I don't understand. Last thing I'm going to say, a second video will come out whether some people like it or not. I feel the matter is too important not to. Update. Harley and Vera were able to work it out, and I'm happy that they did.
Okay, in order, kids. 1, if you didn't think Harley was lying about being trans, why did you talk about it for a whole section? Why did you misgender them through the video? Why is the video still up? Why do you keep misgendering them? Why are you still pushing the same stupid bullshit that you push in the video? Why haven't you fucked yourself yet? 2, if you stand by it, then why the fuck are you still talking about it here? I'm right, but not that right. Shut up. 3, Vera literally mocked Harley's grooming, and they have every right to be pissed until the day they decompose. We've already talked about this. 4, having a whole section downplaying someone's harassment and then thinking a pinned comment makes that okay. You really are a Spockter fan, huh? 5,
I think Harley's a cloud chaser, but not for the reasons I said.
Get fucked, then I don't have to listen to anything that you say in the video. 6, go fuck yourself.
I'm not sorry I devalued your grooming, I'm just sorry I was so mean about it.
7, you're disgusting gutter rat trash. I hope your sad, pathetic ass turns to dust from the exposure, you miserable. So this is nothing. This is literally not a goddamn thing. Now, we get to move on to the Twitter thread. Yeah, I know, that was quick, wasn't it?
I'm extremely biased. I'm biased.
So I was told that Harley's grooming video, the second one that I covered on a stream with @GrimskullGamble, Minor Games, and others, was taken down. I checked, and yep, it was taken down. I know people are going to try and attack us and claim we bullied a victim into silence and shame us. I don't feel bad because I still believe Harley is not a victim, and both the videos were full of slander. There is evidence disproving Harley's grooming, not saying Josh wasn't stupid in the situation either, but I still am of the belief that he did not groom Harley.
First, you absolutely bullied a victim into silence. You literally harassed the poor guy into taking down the video that they made to talk about someone that was actively dangerous, and according to your dumb ass, that makes you irresponsible, selfish trash, and every single person that they victimized from here on out is now your fault. Congratulations. Second, I thought you weren't going to say Harley wasn't groomed, you two-faced sow. Now Harley isn't a victim and the videos were slander? Fuck me gently with a chainsaw.
I did check to see if Harley has some explanation to the video being down, but nothing has come up, so I'm thinking Harley is gonna try and sweep this under the rug like they did with the Lolicon video, meaning that they just delete it and never speak of it again. I will not let that happen, however. I will make sure the evidence against Harley will be forever public, and that people will see what really happened. Harley needs to answer to this at some point, and we cannot let this get swept under the rug like the Lolicon vid.
This is absolute chinibio delusion. Talk to a therapist, seek help, get on medication, get hit with a brick. You aren't a valiant hero crusading for justice. You're a fucking nobody on the internet, taking a random YouTuber to task because you don't have the common sense to read.
Now, if there is new evidence proving Harley was groomed, I am willing to look at it. I fucking doubt it. But until then, my mind will not be changed, since I doubt that there is any new evidence. I feel safe in saying Harley did lie until I am actually proven wrong. I just don't understand the mindset of, you weren't groomed, child. There's no evidence. Like, you fucking, how chronically online of a fucking bitch do you have to, whatever.
This is a little bit of a spoiler for future events, but you literally have a screenshot in your drive of Josh admitting that he purchased child porn from Harley when they were 12 years old. I don't know what else you would want, truly.
Here's what I will admit. Josh should have not been as sexual as he was with Harley. My point still stands in terms of Josh not knowing any better to not only age, but him being on the spectrum. This will be explained in my script. I am sorry if that does offend anyone who is on the spectrum. However, a person I know who is also on the spectrum made this point to me. He wants nothing to do with this, so that is why I'm not blaming them in any sort of way, because this situation has caused a major stain on his life. Fine, I guess we'll just completely disavow people of the consequences of their actions because they're autistic. That's not
fucking demeaning and ableist as shit, whatever. I do have a friend that is okay with showing screenshots while being censored, of course. Explaining that confirm that people on the spectrum have a hard time with social cues and social situations in general, so it is not unfair to say that it plays a factor in Josh oversharing. To clarify, I mainly bring this up because people say that Josh should have known better due to his age to not have any sort of sexual relationship with Harley. If there was evidence that Josh pushed Harley into that sexual relationship, I would not be using that as a factor. Nor would I still be defending him. I feel like people get offended because they still view Josh as a groomer and in turn see me saying that as a way to excuse grooming. He isn't and I am not, which is what I would have said if he was, and I am. Again, people expect Josh to know he shouldn't have gotten sexual or as personal, yet overlook the fact that Josh was also a child who was 2.5 years older at most, and not able to read a social situation correctly. Plus, if Harley did not make it clear that they did not want the relationship, and there is no screenshot of Harley making this clear, I can't wait. I can't wait for the point where he just stops it right here and shows the screenshot, and we're all like, what? That's crazy! No way! Then Josh could not have known that Harley was uncomfortable. Even then, people look over the fact that later on, there was a change of deal, and instead of nudes, Josh just wanted a new computer. If Josh's main goal was to get nudes from Harley, then why did Josh alter the deal? I have heard better logical reasoning from a fucking Danganronpa character trying to convince me that someone else could have thrown a ball as well as the best baseball player on the planet.
Oh, I don't give 2/5 of a shit how uncomfortable this makes Josh. He used money to hold over someone's head in order to get nudes out of them. I hope he has 10 small rocks in every piece of clothing he wears for the rest of his miserable, pathetic life. Also, being on the spectrum isn't even kind of an excuse. I'm on the spectrum. I've crossed boundaries and gotten too familiar with people I didn't know that well. I can comfortably say, though, that I've never actively tried to bribe someone for nudes. I've never asked anyone for nudes. Being autistic doesn't mean you don't know right from wrong. It means you don't know how to read a room. Also, if his age is an excuse, then so is Harley's. This is fucking pathetic. Also, it wasn't a 2.5-year age gap. Josh was 16 and Harley was 12 turning 13. That's enough to be a problem. You have screenshots in your drive showing Josh admitting to that. Harley doesn't need to mention being uncomfortable. He was buying porn from someone. He was trying to get someone to send him nudes in exchange for money that he was holding over their head.
And another thing that people overlook is how Harley is low-key a fucking hypocrite. Remember the bot in their server that showed sexually suggestive images and porn characters in a server filled with minors? And how I had to fight tooth and nail for Harley to blacklist the hentai genre, even though it should have been a long time ago. And how the bot's function allows you to marry underage characters as young as 8. How come Harley gets no flack for this, yet Josh is called a pedophile for simply being sexual with Harley? And before you say that bot is stupid fun and not real, you could say the same fucking thing about lolly porn. Again, it took Harley to run out of excuses to not do anything before they did the bare minimum. To this day, the bot is still causing issues. The option to marry underage characters happened after my talk with Harley, and Harley, the only one who can remove it, allows it to stay. I have talked to the mods and they claim they don't have power to remove it and Harley has to. And no one bats an eye to that? Is the excuse that kids use stupid things only apply to Harley now? Again, Josh was a child too, wrong too. Yet people have condemned him and refused to look at the evidence proving Josh is innocent and a dumb fucking kid. The difference? Josh was willing to change the fucking deal from nudes to a computer, meaning that somewhere Harley said they didn't want to do it anymore, and Josh did not pressure them into continuing and altered the deal. Yeah, I don't want pictures of your naked body, just an entire PC. Sure, great. When confronted about the bot, Harley kept making poor excuse after poor excuse to simply not do anything about the bot posting fucking sexually suggestive pics and hentai characters, including lolicon characters, in a server filled with minors. Yet again, no one bats an eye. I will also not let a blind fan base silence me either. Harley's actions are not okay, and if people are gonna condemn Josh, then where the Did you just use where properly and then use it incorrectly to say were? Are you fucking okay. Where the fuck were they when Harley allowed that shit to happen and still allow the bot to stay with no other way to get rid of it unless they do it?
So I know exactly the bot that she's talking about because I have it in my personal server as well. It's Mudebot, a bot that will randomly assign a waifu or a husbando when you issue a command. Well, maybe some of the characters that it'll assign you are from NSFW sources. None of the artwork it spits out is NSFW. You can quote-unquote marry characters by issuing another command, and it basically adds them to a list. All you do is collect them like Pokemon. I should not have to explain the difference between that and a teenager extorting a middle schooler for nudes. Holy fucking shit, it's my first post point. So, upon going over this again, I just realized Josh altering the deal from nudes to a PC would also be considered leverage because Harley expressed multiple times that they didn't have the money to pay for the games that they were getting. Where the fuck were they gonna get the money for a PC? It's almost as if they gave them one option that was much easier and didn't require them to go further into debt than they already were, or the other option that was going to push them into debt. It's almost like this was a manipulation tactic or something.
Now that I've made that clear, I want to make a few things known in terms of what will happen to my last video on Harley, unless they try to slander me and it gets to the point where I have to address it. And the future of my channel, in terms of my hopefully last video on Harley, it is not going to be as big as I wanted it. It will cover general stuff, but I'm sorry to say it won't be in depth. It will direct people who view it to the rabbit hole of evidence against Harley, along with my in-depth script that I had planned on being the script for the next big video. Why can you not fucking just proofread your tweets? If someone does want to use that script and evidence for their videos, if anyone is interested, just ask me. The reason why I'm reducing the video to general statements is because of this. This whole Harley situation has opened my eyes to how most of the commentary community views small creators who do not have the popular opinion or an opinion similar to the bigger heads in the community. It has shown how hypocritical the fans of this community are.
You getting your fucking ass blown out for being a stalker freak show has nothing to do with you being a smaller creator. It's because you're a fucking nobody harassing some commentator and schizo posting about them like they owe you something.
The fan base will tear you apart and regurgitate points that are disproven, bring up points that prove nothing with either no evidence or no legitimate sources to back up their claims. Example, fucking Quora. Or disregard evidence that do not follow their beliefs.
This is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen in my life. You are actively delusional.
The fanbase will also turn a blind eye to the hypocrisy provided by their favorite content creator and excuse their actions despite being similar to actions they condemned someone else for. They will then try to destroy and bully anyone who calls this shit out.
You literally bullied a victim of child sexual exploitation into taking down a video talking about the person who abused them and then sided with that abuser. I'm screaming.
This goes for some people you will befriend. I literally had someone who had the same opinion as me, Harley lied about being groomed, and then threw me under the bus after my first video. This wasn't a case of just saying they thought the video was executed bad. They pretended to have this fucking moral high ground and pretended they did not have the same opinion as me. They even slandered my fiancé to all these other things behind the scenes, even though my fiancé clarified things, yet they haven't spread that shit. God rest that man's soul, TBH. Sorry for being vague about this. I did agree to not make a big a deal about this. I mention this because it is something that hurt me very badly, and it does contribute into my reasoning that behavior is also prevalent in this community.
It's almost as if that video is an actual fucking dumpster fire and you were a deranged basket case being actively transphobic, entitled, and disgusting. Good on them, truly. Stoked about it.
And here is the thing. I really wanted this to be a big video. I love making commentaries. I love editing them and doing art for them. I love getting my opinion out there, even if a lot of people don't agree with me. I love discussing topics like this with friends. I really wanted to continue to make commentaries, and if I was by myself, I would, but I'm not. I do have people in my offline life that could get hurt, and I value their protection more. Hey, correct there! We're making fucking progress. I'm sorry, but the Harley TBS situation really did ruin commentaries for me.
Oh, I'm so sorry that your schizo posts backfired on you. You downplayed their own harassment, said that doxing wasn't good enough, and now you have thoughts about that when it's your ass? I can't fucking believe this.
I do plan to make more art and posting it for the world to see, and hopefully make webcomics. But again, no more videos on topics like Harley TBS. I cannot risk the fucking onpour of honest-to-God blind dumbasses trying to make my life a living hell. Hell. I've been gaslighting myself reading this into thinking it's being written properly and I'm just seeing it wrong. Or put my fiance in danger. I will make one last tweet at some point that contains the Google Drive full of evidence and Harley's deleted videos along with the completed script of what the video would have been.
Yeah, we're getting to this. I've been building to it this entire video, but we're gonna put this into context. You are walking away by releasing a bunch of deeply private and uncomfortable information. You're going to just wash your hands of it and not deal with the consequences of it. You know, I'm starting to think that that stories in Penegrin thing, that was the right comparison, just not for Harley.
I may not be as involved with this community anymore, but I will not let Harley sweep this under the rug, nor let people forget what they did, like the lolicon video, until they is reprimanded for their actions or they are properly addressed. I am sorry if I did offend anyone along the way, but I will not disown my points. I just won't actively speak on them anymore, but keep my evidence up no matter what.
I'm sorry I offended you. God, shut up. You're so disingenuous. I'm going to commit a crime.
Update. Harley has said these two things on them deleting their grooming video.
I do not wish to further speak on personal trauma around my life. My experiences are not your entertainment or excuse to harass victims. Thank you. Yes, I took down my grooming videos. No, it wasn't because I'm trying to hide them. I'm sure more than a few of the 100,000 who saw the videos have a copy. As a brief explanation, I was dealing with a lot of depressive swings over that part of my life being on my channel and accessible at all times. I was way too vulnerable and it hurt me knowing people were harassing other victims under it. That's the only reason. I do not wish to further talk about or to my groomer. That is terrible. I'm not allowing myself to destroy my mental health again for the sake of victim blamers online. Thank you for always being so overwhelmingly supportive. I don't reply to all my DMs sending support, but I read all of them. Thank you. That's all I have to say. I hope this little breakdown doesn't dampen your day/mood.
And in true Foxton fashion, she shows us 2 screenshots of proving actively and definitively that she silenced a victim. Glad you directed me to this. Poggers, love it. No, it made my life a lot easier. I didn't have to even try.
Now, TBH, I don't think anyone is using their experiences as an excuse to harass other victims of abuse, because I don't really trust a word that comes out of Harley's mouth. However, if this is the case, then shame onto the people who did that. But one thing I fucking hate is Harley saying they won't talk about it again, because it will destroy their mental health if they ever talk to their groomer again. No, you were caught in the fucking lie, and now that the evidence is out there, you don't want to actually address it. In my opinion.
How are we still here? I'm so tired. You did that. You literally talked shit about the way that they responded. I hate this. I'm so tired. Why are we still here? What the fuck?
Still open to new and legitimate evidence proving Harley didn't lie being put out there. But with what is shown and Harley's doing this, I still think it is Harley trying to sweep it under the rug by not talking about it and not owning up to slandering Josh. Just saying. Okay, so in the event of Harley trying to reinstate the grooming drama, I noticed I forgot to make the whole drive public, so here you guys go. This is not me trying to get involved. I'm just correcting a mistake. I'm not trying to get involved in a situation that you are clearly trying to like backpedal your way out of, and then saying that Harley isn't allowed to use their mental well-being as a reason to not talk about being groomed. I can see why this fucking took as long as it did. Like, if I had to listen to this shit for extended periods of time, like, verbally, I'd like, my brain would be mush in seconds.
You have a screenshot. You know what? We're gonna talk about this. I'm done pseudo posting. Let's get into the fucking Google Drive. Actually, that's the end of part 1. Yeah, normally I wouldn't split a video like this into more than one part, but in the editing phase of this video, I saw what the time scale was starting to look like, and I realized this was probably going to be something closer to 3 hours altogether. And I know while YouTube likes long videos, I wanted to make sure that this important information doesn't get kind of turned into soup after several long hours of talking about it, so I think breaking it up is probably a little better. It's also really important to me that this information gets out in a timely manner. Harley's been suffering with this for quite a while now, and God knows I don't want them to have to suffer in silence any longer. Part 2 will be out super soon. I'm probably editing it as you watch this, as a matter of fact. Keep your eyes out for that next part, my lovely Legionnaires, and tell Harley that the Legion is there to support them. Send them some love if you can. Thank you so much to all of my lovely readers who've been scrolling by on the side here. I know I've put all of you through quite a bit of bullshit because I'm a scatterbrained dumbass, so thank you for putting up with me. I'll be done with you soon, Foxton, because next time, not only will I be able to look at what you provided in your evidence drive, but with what Harley provided me as well. I'll see you soon.